Day 1. Alright, how do I start this? Captain's log. Stardate? No. Dear Penta... No. Forget it. I'll just start writing. So, how long has it been since I came to the land of the dead? Honestly, can't really remember. Almost feels like I've been here my whole life. I find it a little odd that I'm basically the only one here that has this half look. Everyone else seems to be fully skeletized, but for some reason only half my body is like that, while the rest looks more human. I definitely get looks from people, but they seem to shrug it off for the most part. The weird thing is how the older folks here seem to refer to me as Traveler, and often want me to regale some fun adventure I had recently. I tend to shrug it off and usually tell them some blown up story about my trip to the supermarket for groceries. Some of them catch on and realize what I'm doing, while others seem to believe me. Maybe I should consider current storytelling, or book writing. I spend most of my time inside playing games, writing music, or watching some sort of media. It's not really eventful, but it's a simple and comfortable lifestyle that I don't mind so much. Granted, sometimes I feel like I should be doing something else with my undead life? Half undead? Yeah, this half body thing makes things a little complicated. Anyways, I guess I can stop writing there for now. I really wanted to try and start this journal writing thing so I could jot down my thoughts, but I don't really want to force anything if my day is that uneventful. Day 2. The weirdest thing happened today. I decided to go to a bar close to my house. I'm not one to socialize really, but I like to have a drink or two while I scroll on my phone, and the bartender usually tries to chat with me from time to time. Probably good for my mental health to have some sort of interaction with an undead creature. Probably. The bartender asked me about some guy named Ricardo, and if I had ever met with him or if I saw him when he popped by. I told him no, and then he rattled off a couple other names, and when I still responded with a "never heard of him," he seemed absolutely set aback by my answer. "Mio, how do you not know about them? Surely they've come to find you and take on an adventure of some sort." No. I sit inside all day and play games, man. You think anyone's really gonna come looking for me? Pero Joe, you realize they look like you too, right? Have you ever wondered why you're one of the only people here that looks the way you do? Nah, don't really question much. Just kind of take things as they come. Okay, that's fair. Did you want another drink? No, I'm okay. Go ahead and close me out for the night. Then, on my walk home, I heard some whispering down an alley. As I walked by, I saw a man standing there and doing some weird hand motions. Honestly, just thought it was another weird Naruto cosplayer or something. But then all of a sudden, a massive portal appeared out of thin air in front of the person, and without hesitation, they jumped in and the portal shut behind them. I was taken aback and couldn't believe what I saw. You saw that, right? They acknowledged there was definitely a person there, but seemed to scoff at me like they thought I was some kind of idiot for saying they went into a portal. Maybe that bartender knows way more than he's letting on. Day 3. Alright, I feel a little dumb, but a little excited too. So I barged into the bar and immediately asked the bartender what the hell was up yesterday, and why a guy flew into a portal. He laughed at me thinking I was playing dumb, but once he realized that I was being serious, sat me down and explained everything. Basically, there are others that look similar to me in being half undead, and we're all beings who can travel through portals that lead to a strange new land. Apparently so commonplace that no one in the land of the dead questions it, and instead regard a lot of these people as storytellers who provide entertainment for everyone here. Apparently, the power of these people is also how all residents of the land of the dead are able to visit their families during Dia de los Muertos. Gonna be honest, all of this makes a lot more sense and feels like stuff I should have known a long time ago. Maybe if I picked up a book or actually asked questions instead of sitting at home and playing Fall Guys for the 200th time. I did ask the bartender how these travelers open portals, but he told me it's a kept secret amongst the travelers, and since only they have the ability to travel, it's useless information to the rest of the residents in the land of the dead. Guess I'll have to ask someone some questions soon. Until then I'm going to binge watch some more Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Man, I always loved the Neo Space deck. Day 4. What a day it's been. So, first off, I found a traveler. I happened to come across someone in an alleyway again and asked him what he was doing. He turned to look at me, and when he saw I was half undead, smiled and said he was traveling to an island of kittens. Said it would be an island adventure of sorts. He then asked me where I was going, and I told him I didn't even know. He chuckled a little and asked if I was a new resident of the land of the dead. And while it was technically a lie, I told him yes. He then looked at me and straight up asked if I had watched Doctor Strange. I told him yes, and then demonstrating, he told me to lift my undead arm and spin in a circle like how Doctor Strange did. I honestly was in disbelief that we were ripping off something so blatantly, to which the traveler responded with, "Who do you think came up with this movement?" He then decided to leave me, only saying a few warnings. 1. While creating a portal to a world is completely up to your imagination on where you go, the worlds you travel to are 100% real and everyone is a living being within them. 2. To reiterate, these worlds are 100% real. If something happens to you, it's actually happening. Don't be dumb and go to Starship Troopers world and get ripped in half by some massive bug creature. He then shed a tear and said, "We miss you, Steve, you idiot." 3. Under no circumstances do you let someone from a different world enter the portal behind you. Make sure it's closed. And with that, he was gone, and I was left to my devices. I stood back, took a deep breath, and began making the motion he told me to do. To be honest, I was so focused on trying to make a portal appear and thinking it was all some kind of hoax that I didn't know what portal I had created. And when I stuck my head in, I was greeted with the most colorful and vast world of space I had ever seen. Neospace. Day 5. Neospace. I couldn't believe how vast and beautiful it was. I was so taken aback that before I knew it, the portal had completely sucked me in, and I was floating endlessly in this colorful new world. While I floated in place, I could hear faint yelling from afar. Good to know sound travels here somehow. I guess there's air in Neospace. Or it's because I'm half undead? Honestly, I'm not too sure on the science behind this world, and I don't think I ever will be sure on it. But anyway, there was a faint yelling, and I could see a little green dot from afar getting closer. As it got closer, I could make out some more of its features, and could tell it was a person of some sort. As it got closer and closer, I could finally see that it was some sort of human with wolf ears and a wolf tail. His hair was short with a blue hue to it, and he wore a green jacket and blue jeans. I couldn't really get a good look at his shoes, to be honest, but there were definitely shoes there.
Whoa, hey there! You don't seem too familiar. Did you accidentally fall into the wrong portal at the bar?
The bar? There's a bar?
Yeah, oh man. The radio gave you one of his special cocktails. Ugh, I keep telling him to lay off the Everclear with that stuff, but he's always, you don't know what their alcohol tolerance is, or if they even have one. Anyway, come on, let me get you back.
Oh no, I don't need...
No, come on, it's the least I can do.
And with that, the strange person grabbed my arm and started flying us into space. I held on with all my strength, and I could feel the stranger slow down as we approached the door.
Alright, here we are.
The stranger opened the door, and inside was a portal. We both went in, and on the other side was a... bar? It was pretty quiet there, aside from the television on one side where 2 people were seated. The bar was a reasonable size with a handful of tables, all of which were empty. Inside, I could see 2 people seated in front of the television, screaming and yelling as they were playing some sort of game. And there was a third person who was seated at one of the tables, minding her own business.
Radio! I know you're the boss and all, but we gotta make sure these doors aren't left open for patrons to randomly fall into. Don't you remember what happened a week ago?
The stranger seemingly spoke to one of the people seated in front of the television, and he just seemed to wave him off like it was no big deal.
Well, you're back at Endless Reprieve, so, just find the portal you came through and head on home.
I didn't come through any of these portals.
Wow, that drunk, huh? Alright, what's the name of the place you're from?
The land of the dead?
Land of the what?
The land of the dead.
You trying to play jokes on me, man, or what? Because there ain't no portal here that leads to a land of the dead.
Well, I mean, I kind of made my own portal.
You say what now?
And after the stranger spoke, I proceeded to show him my ability to create portals.
Whoa, that's so cool! You mean to tell me you can just travel through any portal you created on your own?
Yeah, for the most part.
Alright, have a seat. I gotta know more about this. Let me get you a glass of water.
I sat down and explained my situation to the stranger and how I ended up in Neospace.
Huh, interesting. Not the weirdest story we've gotten here, but an interesting one, I would say. Oh, by the way, I'm Hero. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, Joe. You can just call me Joe.
Oh, Jojo! Well, that over there is Radio and Corvus.
The 2 men seated in front of the TV waved while staying glued to the screen.
Radio is a retired mafia boss, and Corvus is a fallen seraphim.
Interesting duo. Okay.
Yeah, Radio is the founder of Endless Reprieve, and Corvus is sort of his second in command. And this over here is our regular Neru. She's an interdimensional wildcat. Kind of like you in a sense.
Hero waved over to the lady who was sitting at one of the tables drawing to herself. She looked up briefly and smiled at me when Hero introduced her, and then continued with her drawing. Wait, so what is Endless Reprieve exactly?
Glad you asked. It's a bar.
Yeah, I got that part.
And I guess we also have interdimensional portals, so beings from other dimensions can come in here and have a drink or two and all that.
Hero explained to me how the rules at Endless Reprieve worked. 1. All interdimensional beings are to enter and leave in their respective portals. 2. Endless Reprieve is a neutral zone and there will be no hostility. I asked Hero how this was possible, and he said, try punching me, to which I respectfully declined, mainly due to the feeling of someone watching me as I clenched my fist. Number 3, have fun. Hero did admit this wasn't a real rule, but he would much rather have a small list rather than 2 rules. After this talk, I decided to hang out for a little while at Endless Reprieve. It honestly was such a blast the first time I was there that I asked Hero if it was okay if I could pop in and out using my own portal, seeing as they somehow didn't have one there for my own world. After talking it over with Radio, Hero said it was alright, and that started a great friendship between the two of us, where I would pop into Endless Reprieve from time to time and hang out with everyone there. Hero often asks me what other dimensions I have traveled to, but I haven't found a reason to travel anywhere else. That, and I'm a little worried about what I'll find on the other side of some of these portals. I know it's up to my imagination on where I go, but I'm not so sure I can control that. Day 6. I popped into Endless Reprieve again today to say hi to the gang like I usually do.
Hey, Jojo, you got here just in time. I was about to pop into another dimension and say hi to a few friends. Want to come with?
Oh, sure. But isn't going into different dimensions against the rules?
Just for our customers, not staff. Besides, the only one of us who really does any interdimensional traveling is Nero, and she doesn't do it too much. It gets a little cold over there. You want a different outfit?
Nah, I'll be alright. Hero opens up a door, we step inside, and immediately I'm hit with the coldest gust of wind I have ever felt. As I get my bearings on where we are, I realize that it's dark outside and it's snowing. Hero motions to a building just ahead of us, and we walk towards it. It's a very old-style looking building made almost entirely out of wood. It stands at about 2 stories and is lit up by a few lamps by the door. As we got closer, I noticed a sign hung up that read, Sleepy Fox Inn. Hero opens the door, we walk in, and are immediately greeted by a woman standing at the bar. I could not quite make her out because my glasses immediately fogged up when we got inside.
Hello, welcome to the Sleepy Fox Inn. How many guests? Hero! It's good to see you again.
Hi, Sue. Hope all is well.
It is, and you brought a guest. Please sit, get comfy. I'll have the doggo bring out some drinks for you.
Hero and I took a seat at one of the tables, and I was able to have a better look at the woman who greeted us. She did not stand very tall and wore an outfit that seemed unfitting for cold weather. It was a turquoise color and fairly revealing, showing a fair amount of cleavage with a short skirt and thigh highs. She also wore a loose jacket halfway down her arms, as if more of a fashion statement than a way to keep warm in this cold weather. But who am I to judge when I showed up wearing a tank top and sleeveless jacket? She also appeared to be a fox girl of some sort due to her fox ears and fox tail that would swing back and forth as she spoke to us. Shortly after we sat down, a man walked up to us and put down some drinks. As he put down the drinks, he began to greet us.
Gleb, good to see you, good boy. Who's a good boy?
Hero immediately started giving head pats and rubbing the man's head, and I don't think I could have missed the fact that this man had a tail like a dog, because the amount of times it whacked me in excitement from the fact that Hero was petting his head was astonishing. Aside from being whacked so much, I did notice that Kleb had ears as well, but they were more dog-like. He also wore an outfit that actually seemed more fitting for this cold weather. It was some oversized tech wear that was sort of a dark blue in color with orange accents on it. Kleb wore a jacket as well, but he seemed to have one side of it drooping halfway down his arm and belts in an X formation on his torso.
Hi, Hero. Oh, hi. I'm Klebius. Who are you?
Kleb looked at me with a bit of a smirk, almost as if he wanted me to pet him too. Hi. I'm Joe. Nice to meet you. Kleb continued to stare at me for a little bit until I started petting his head. Kleb gave a bit of a happy whimper and then scurried away. Hero and I spent time with both Sue and Kleb chatting and learning about each other's interests. It was honestly kind of nice being able to meet some more new people and get to learn a little bit about them. I'm not one to be very sociable, but this very much felt like a step in the right direction for me that could lead me to becoming a little bit more open with others. While we were all conversing, a loud thunderous crash was heard outside. The sound was so loud that it caused the entire inn to shake. When I looked, it seemed that Hero and I were the only ones affected by this. The entrance to the inn swung open, and a shadowy figure with glowing eyes stood at the doorway. Their presence is seemingly terrifying and grand in scale. I was terrified about what was going to happen. I looked over to Hero, who seemed to share a similar thought to me. But when I turned to Sue, her eyes were glowing with excitement. As she stared at the shadowy figure, a smile slowly creased on her face, and then with a loud yell, Sue yelled,
Sin!
Sue cheerfully ran and leaped at the shadowy figure, giving them a hug. I guess they're friends. When I turned to look at the shadowy figure, I could see them smiling as they gave Sue a hug back.
Hi, Sue. It's good to see you as always.
How's my wifey Sin doing?
I'm doing well, dear. I just wanted to stop by for a little bit before I head off. You know, the royalty business and all. That always keeps me busy.
Okay, well, have a seat. We have guests. Do you want a drink?
Sure. Just one would be nice. But my, who are these lovely 2 gentlemen?
Hero immediately stood up and extended his hand.
Oh, hi, I'm Hero. Good to meet you.
Oh, Hero. Sue has mentioned you to me before, and I think we passed each other a few times on the way in and out of the inn.
Oh, that was you. I thought you seemed familiar, but I couldn't quite pick it up on account of the scary, shadowy stuff when you first got here. Just now.
Yes, I tend to frighten people, but it comes with the job.
The woman turned her head and looked at me next.
And who are you?
I stood up and extended my hand as well. Hi. I'm Joe. It's good to meet you.
I'm Sinia, but most people call me Sin. Don't think I've ever seen you here before.
Yeah, sort of new here. I came along recently with Hero and met Sue and Club today.
Oh, well, Sue, dear. I wish you would have told me sooner you were going to have two handsome young men here. I would have come a lot sooner.
When I stood up next to Sin, I realized that she was not very tall as she appeared to be, really only standing at about 5 feet 4 inches. Granted, when we started talking, if you ever brought this up, she would immediately give you a glare and find a way to prove that she actually stood at 9 feet tall. I think at one point she even grabbed a step stool and forced me to lay down on the floor to prove she was 9 feet. But anyway, Sin stayed around for a little while before leaving, and she let me know that if I was ever in the neighborhood, to stop by her castle that she resides in. Once she let me know where it was, Sin stepped outside and disappeared into the sky.
Well, Sue, thanks for the drinks and company.
What? You're leaving me?
No. We'll be stepping outside for a little bit.
Oh, okay. Don't stay outside too long. It's very cold.
Hero and I went outside of the inn, and I was sort of confused as to what happened. Hey, Hero, why are we stepping outside?
We're leaving. I gotta head back eventually, you know?
Oh, well, I think I'll head back inside for a couple more drinks. I sort of enjoy the company.
No problem. You think you can get back on your own?
Yeah, totally.
Alright, just a little warning. Don't tell Sue you're leaving when you decide to do so.
Why is that?
I'm actually not sure. Cled told me that when I first came here, and he wouldn't specify why, so I just took his word for it.
And with that, Hero left, and I went back to the Sleepy Fox Inn. I stayed with Sue and Club for several more hours, chatting and enjoying their company. They would have customers come and go here and there, but the Sleepy Fox Inn was overall a very comfortable and calm location. I think I could get used to coming here every so often to relax and be with good company. Well, thanks for the hospitality, you two. It was a ton of fun, but I gotta head back home now.
You're leaving?
Yeah, gotta head home now.
Oh no.
As soon as I responded to Sue, I saw Club turn his head and give me one of the most worried looks I had seen on him that night.
But nobody can leave. You're not allowed to leave. You need to be here forever and ever.
Sue,
And ever.
calm down.
And ever.
He didn't
And
say
ever.
leave, right? He said
And
he was gonna
ever. And
pick up some
And
leaves,
ever.
like the ones
And
outside.
ever.
Sue's eyes began to glow, and a red, murderous aura began to surround her. When I looked at Sue and blinked, she was gone, and the next second, the world was pitch black. Day 7. When I came to, I was in a dark and cold area. I looked around, but could barely see anything. My arms felt exhausted, and I realized that they had been shackled to the wall, and I was unable to move them. When I looked up, I could see a light at the top of a flight of stairs, and at the top was Sue staring back at me.
No one is allowed to leave my basement because nobody ever leaves the inn.
As soon as Sue said this, she shut the door, leaving me in darkness. I tried to fidget around and see if I could find a key or some other tool to help me escape. I even tried moving my arm in a circular motion to see if I could create a portal that could free me, but unfortunately, nothing would happen. Guess you gotta make the full movement in order for a portal to appear. I looked around and tried to fidget to see if I could loosen the shackles in any way, but I could not loosen them or find anything to break me free. After what felt like hours being down there, I could hear someone walking towards the door. I figured maybe I could scream and someone would come and help me. Suddenly, almost instantly after yelling, I heard the lock on the door click. The shadowy figure stood there with their ears perked up and their tail wagging back and forth. I feared that this was Sue, and I could only imagine what it was she was going to do to me. I panicked and began yelling, telling her not to stab me or eat me or whatever. Telling her that undead flesh does not taste good and will poison her or something. As the shadowy figure got closer to me, it sped up almost as if it was running. My stomach sank. My heartbeat raced so fast I could feel it in my throat. And right as the figure came up to me, I heard them speak.
Shh, you're gonna wake up Sue.
It was Kleb. He had a key in his hand and began to undo my shackles.
Sorry about that. Sue can sometimes get a little wild when she thinks people are leaving and not coming back. But Sue's asleep right now, and I usually come down here and free anyone she might have locked up.
And you don't get in trouble?
She'll lock me in the kennel sometimes, but I have a secret key to that too, so I just play along. Anyway, I get it if you're a little freaked out and want to leave. The door's upstairs and to the right. Just be a little quiet so you don't wake up Sue.
Okay, thanks, Cleb. And with that, I gave Cleb a little pat on the head and made my way upstairs. As I got to the door, I did not really think much of what just happened. I mean, if everything Cleb said is true, then Sue sounds a little crazy. But it also does not seem like she wants to hurt anyone. Maybe she's just a little lonely, kind of like I was. I mean, the inn has plenty of customers, but they come and go as they choose, and I'm sure Sue never sees them again. I can't imagine what her life has been like prior to the inn. As I went to open the door to leave, I heard a voice from behind me.
Where are you going?
When I turned, it was Sue, looking extremely tired and rubbing one eye with her hand as she yawned.
You're coming back, right? Please come back. I just want you to feel at home when you come back.
Yeah, I'll be back, Sue. Just gotta take a quick stroll outside for some fresh air.
Okay, it's cold though, so be careful.
And without missing a beat, Sue curled up on the floor and fell asleep. Huh. So that's why it's called the Sleepy Fox Inn. Day 8. After a long day, I decided to take another trip back to Endless Reprieve to say hi to everyone. Right after popping into the portal, I noticed Radio was talking to someone I hadn't seen before. She was dressed in this beautiful pink dress that split on both sides of her on her upper leg. The shoulders of the dress were gone, and it was held up with a gold choker that matched a black belt with a gold ring on her waist. She had long, flowy pink hair and 3 eyes? Interesting. Radio introduced me to her as an old friend of his that was popping in for the first time in a while.
Hi, I'm Kirkumi, but you can also just call me Kier.
Oh, hi, I'm Joe. Nice to meet you. I sat down and began chatting with Radio and Kier. The conversation went really well, and we were all having a great time hanging out. Radio told us he had to take off and that Corvus was in charge. Corvus seemed to shrug as he continued cleaning some glasses behind the counter.
Well, I'll head out too. Need to meet some friends at their place.
Oh, alright. I'll be sticking around here for now.
You waiting for someone else or something?
No, not really.
Oh, come on. Don't be shy. Come with.
I'm sorry, what? I can't do that. It's against the rules to not go into my own portal.
Hun, when you're an ethereal goddess, there are no rules. You should see how many free birds I have.
I'm sorry, what? And without elaborating, Kier grabbed my hand and pulled me into a portal with her. When we popped out on the other side, my eyes were immediately drawn to the massive white mansion in front of me. The entrance to the mansion consisted of a beautiful flower garden and a water fountain with a humanoid statue that had wings. Not sure who exactly that is.
All right, let's go inside.
I followed Kier and she knocked on the door. When the door opened, a man with hair, horns, and 2 yellow-tinted dragon wings stood before us.
Oh, Snuff, it's Kier.
Hi, Lemon. Good to see you too.
Kier immediately punched him on the arm.
What the Snuff?
That's for the other day when we played IRL Mario Party.
Listen, the minigame was to throw a pie, and I had to pick between you and Panda. Which one do you think I'm gonna pick?
Panda was winning the game. You should have picked him.
I panicked, okay? I panicked. I didn't mean to. I panicked.
While the two of them yelled at each other, I noticed that Lemon, I guess that's his name, was wearing a green suit with a red shirt underneath and a white glove on each hand.
Yo, what's up? Who's this, Kier?
Oh, this is Joe. I met him like an hour ago.
Oh, welcome to the Whisper Drop Manor. We hope you enjoy your stay. I'm Lemon. May I offer you some candy?
Hi, I'm Joe. And, candy?
Oh no, Joe, wait!
Candy's nuts fit in your mouth! Oh!
As soon as Lemon said that, he immediately took off with his fist in the air, seemingly proud of what he just said.
Yeah, be prepared for that. He really enjoys these nuts jokes.
Kier and I walked in and were greeted by another person inside the manor. He had black hair and wore a sweater that was primarily black with red accents on the collar.
Yo, how's it going, Kier?
Hey, Cal.
Who's this? Did you hypnotize someone else again, Kier?
No, Cal. This is Joe, and he 100% came of his own free will.
Uh-huh. Listen, man, if you were forced here, blink twice, and I'll get you out of here real quick.
Joe, don't listen to him. He has a knife hidden somewhere.
I'm sorry, what?
Aw, come on, Kier. How can a blood god go this long without some sort of blood sacrifice? The words blood for the blood god mean nothing to you.
Kelsian, what did I say about stabbing people in the manor?
Lemon! I was going to take him to the basement first.
Can we not with the basement thing again?
Again? Have we met already? What are you, anyway?
Oh, no. I'm Joe, and I'm, half undead and half human.
Okay. How?
I'm sorry?
How? What do you mean, half undead? You're either undead or you're human. How the hell did you get to the halfway point of it?
I was born this way? Calcion seemed to give me an annoyed look, but then shrugged off whatever I said.
Well, welcome to Whisper Drop Manor. My name's Calcion, or Cal for short. Have a seat. I think Lemon's coming out with some drinks for us right now.
Yo, I got the drinkies. Unfortunately, Landon wasn't able to make it today.
Who's Landon?
Trip and land on these nuts!
Yeah, just don't ask questions around Lemon. It's a good rule of thumb that we have around here.
I sat down with Cal, Kira, and Lemon and chatted with them on various topics. We shared a lot of common interests, and they told me a little bit about each other. Cal is apparently a blood god, Kira an ethereal goddess, and at that point I assumed Lemon might be a god of some sort, but he said he's just a dragon. They informed me about much more of their stories, but I feel it'd be best to let them tell it one day instead. After being at the manor for a while, I decided to leave since I wanted to stop by the Sleepy Fox Inn to see Sue and Club for a little bit. As I was leaving, I could hear some faint whispering behind me, but shrugged it off as the wind or something. I definitely walked around a corner and tried to go as far as I could before opening a portal. Wanted to make sure no one tried to follow me where they shouldn't belong. Once I felt the coast was clear, I opened up a portal and headed to the Sleepy Fox Inn. Once I got there, I went inside and was greeted by Sue, Kleb, and Sin. Looks like Sin just happened to be stopping by at the same time I was. We all started to sit down, and then I hear a familiar voice from the door.
Huh. This seems like a cozy place. Although I didn't expect the land of the dead to be so cold.
Cal? How did you...
Oh, I followed you. I was wondering why you seemed so nonchalant leaving, even though, to my knowledge, Kira's the only one who can leave the manor quickly. She did mention a portal from a bar that you came through, but then pointed out how you didn't go back the same way you came through, so I decided to investigate, and lo and behold, you made and entered your own portal. So, how'd you do it?
Cal? I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't think you should be here, man. Instantly, Sue's hair standed on end, and she had a sinister scowl on her face.
I don't know who you are, but it seems like Sue isn't taking a liking to you. And you honestly make my skin crawl, so I give you this one warning to leave.
Why? What are you gonna do?
And in the blink of an eye, Sin disappeared and appeared where Cal was with a balled-up fist as Cal was launched through the doorway and outside into the snow.
Assuming you're still alive, that was the absolute final warning, and I will not hesitate to hurt you.
As I ran out to see where Sin went, a large red blood sword swung at her, attempting to cut her in half. Sin jumped out of the way and caught the second blade coming from the left side with her hand.
Huh, interesting. Didn't think someone would be able to stop one of my attacks, let alone dodge one too.
Cal and Sin began to exchange blows left and right, my eyes barely able to keep up with their fight. I could only catch the quick glimpses when they would clash and pause in midair, or one of them was knocked to the ground. Finally, as the battle seemed to reach its peak, Sin and Cal both dropped to the floor out of breath and fatigued. I took this as a chance to run over and explain what was happening.
Okay, Joe, I still don't trust him, but seeing as you're vouching for him, and Sue has seemed to calm down a little, I'll back off.
I could tell the tensions were still high, but I assured everyone that no one was going to hurt anyone. Sin and Cal both stood on guard, but slowly relaxed little by little as we went back inside. We all sat down and Sue served all of us drinks to help us relax. Thanks, Sue. I promise you won't harm anyone or anything.
I know I'm a blood god, but today's one of my off days.
Cool it, pal. I'll start another round if you don't watch your mouth.
It's okay, Joe. Sometimes I get like that with new people in general. It was definitely weird that I had an intense of a reaction, almost as if I felt he shouldn't be here at all.
I went on to explain to everyone exactly what I could do and where Cal came from. I explained my ability to hop between dimensions and that Cal had somehow snuck through one of my portals and followed me to a place that wasn't really his own. That probably explains Sue's sudden intense reaction, a sort of animalistic instinct of hers, I guess. I also explained how I was told by others who had the same abilities as me that I should never allow anyone from different dimensions to cross into other places. With time, the group seemed to all get along just fine though. Cal and Sin went from enemies to friends in the span of an hour or so, and Sue no longer felt hostile towards Cal. Kleb was just Kleb. There's nothing really to add there. Sometimes he sits in the background and watches things unfold patiently.
Alright, well, I best be getting out of here. Blood gods need to do blood god things. Joe, how do I get back to my dimension again?
You're a blood god, though. You don't have any way of doing that on your own?
Nope. No. You see, as a blood god, I do blood god things, and portals really aren't one of them. I tend to leave that to Kier, and she really only travels between her world and the world the manor is in, so...
Oh, alright. Well, I gotta get going too, so follow me and I'll get you home. And with that, I left with Cal and escorted him back to the manor, where I said my farewell and went back home. Day 9. I was walking home one day and came across a familiar face. It was a traveler I had first met that showed me how to use portals in the first place. He asked me about my travels and if I had any fun stories to share. I told him about some of the different worlds I went to and all the people I had met. He seemed excited for me and told me about how he went to the cat island and brought one of the cats on there to an island full of all-you-can-eat fish. When I reminded him about the rule he told me about not letting other beings cross over dimensions, he chuckled and asked if I really thought that was a real rule. I could tell he noticed my blank stare that meant I really believed him. He explained to me that it was just a silly rule all veteran travelers tell new ones so they don't accidentally leave portals open behind them, allowing beings that could destroy other dimensions easily to come through it. While these travelers aren't protectors of these dimensions, if within reason they felt they could safely bring someone from a different dimension into another one, they would do so. There are tales of nefarious travelers doing this for pure amusement at the expense of those dimensions. But for the most part, travelers seem to do it just to show other beings new worlds and tell even more remarkable stories. He of course brought up Marvel again and told me, who do you think came up with the whole multiverse thing? I pondered over this thought as I would travel to some of the same worlds I was used to, Endless Reprieve, the Sleepy Fox Inn, and Whisper Drop Manor. I realized that I didn't need to hide what I was doing with all these people I knew. So, I didn't. Whenever I would leave, sometimes I would invite friends to come with me and see new worlds. Hero joined me a few times where he met Sin at the Sleepy Fox Inn, and all the others at Whisper Drop Manor. Eventually at the Sleepy Fox Inn, I would meet a moon goddess, a shapeshifter that only misfortune would follow. I didn't believe him until my foot went through the floorboard. A talking takoyaki, a girl with ram horns, a hellish Dami mommy, a sleepy sloth girl, and eventually a steampunk girl. Sin would eventually invite me to her dominion where I met even more people, including a man with a bag over his head that had a Berg mask underneath it, an Oblivion Knight, a straight up ghost, seriously, he's just a ghost, a second shapeshifter, a demon Selkie, a Catboy vampire demon, a straight up talking robot, and a magical girl that has an affinity for peaches? And a pink phoenix with magical ice powers. I don't know. And at Whisper Drop Manor, Lemon and Company would have over a slew of other guests where I met the Panda Man himself, someone Lemon refers to as Stardad, and Cal refers to as glorified Buzz Lightyear. Another person that almost gets mad when people refer to her as a plant even though she's a demon, but Lemon and Cal will consistently refer to her as Plant Mom. A little gremlin demon sheep lord that is very much say-so for my accounts, an actual lamb girl with a rainbow fur, a toxic succubus, her words not mine, and a space dragon. Eventually at ENR, they would even hire on a new staff member that had all these cool glowing symbols on her, and Radio would often refer to her as his emotional support waifu. And the best part would be my ability to travel to the worlds of all these individual people. I would soon learn that places like Whisper Drop Manor, the Scorpius Order, and the Apothecary were all in the same dimension just like the Sleepy Fox Inn, Sin's Dominion, and Ghost Town. I would also go on to find new worlds on my own and meet new people there as well. I met an alien in space who also shares an enjoyment in making music like I do, a dreamer that mainly speaks Spanish, but is always making art, and a dark fae who is also an artist. I would even go on to meet a slew of eldritch beings, all of which resided in a place called Nazarick. I don't know how I ended up there, or what happens there, but all I know is that somehow I was their cart champion for a little while. With all that, I think this would be a great place to end this part of the journal. There have been so many people I've met, I only wish I could talk about all of them. The stories I could tell about them, the adventures we could all go on. But I think for now that will all have to wait. In the meantime, how about we hop on over somewhere new? Maybe revisit a familiar place and hope we meet a new face? The only question I have for you is, would you like to come along?